Hi Superhumans, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about time management and productivity. If you are looking for 3 actionable steps that you can implement so that you can 10x your productivity and live a life that is actually calmer while you're achieving more, then this video is definitely for you. I've personally implemented these things into my life and have seen a tremendous difference in the progress that I'm making towards my goals and in my levels of anxiety. There is this paradox that exists when it comes to time, and that is that it is both precious as well as plentiful. Have you noticed that the busiest people always seem to have the most time, and that is because they are disciplined with it. So in order to have freedom with time, we need to be more disciplined with the way that we handle it. That leads me right into the very first step, which is to start tracking your time. I was going for a walk the other day and I just started thinking that time always seems to escape me and I can't really account for where it goes. And then I remembered Pearson's law that states that what gets measured gets improved, and what gets measured and recorded improves exponentially. So of course I started to do this with my time, and I downloaded an app called Boosted and started to track everything, including the projects as well as the tasks that form some of those projects that I'd been working on. I tracked everything from my sleep to any recreational time or anything that I was doing that was constructive, and I was very surprised by the results. Well, it turns out from my results that I wasn't using the time as effectively as I could. I found that I was spending a lot of time faffing between tasks, and there was a lot of time that I couldn't actually account for as something as being constructive and having something to show for it at the end of the day. Track your time for 1 week. I promise you that this might be a very uncomfortable task and you may not like it, but you'll feel and you'll notice that you immediately start feeling more productive because you want to be able to look at the piece of paper and see that you've made some progress. But I have a specific exercise that I want you to do before you start tracking your time, and that is to note down your values. So a lot of the time when we think about what our values are, and those are the things that we regard highly, that we prioritize and that are important to us, we think that they might be a certain way, but then if we look at how we spend our time, we find that they're actually different. Things such as spending time with family, making time for recreation, love and joy and courage. So you can use a whole lot of different terms there, but if you look at the way that you're spending your time, it should be congruent with your values. And if you find that they aren't, what's so great about this time tracking exercise is you can start to compare the way that you ought to spend your time based on the things that are important to you versus the way that you are spending your time. At the end of the week, look back and see the way that you spent your time versus your values, and start to think about the small changes that you can make that would allow you to live a more harmonious life. But there's also another side to time tracking, and that is that often we feel like we're not doing enough, especially if you're a creative. There's a constant feeling of I need to practice more, I need to create more. But sometimes if we look at the way we track our weeks, we see that week on week, day on day, we're actually improving. There's also another bonus to tracking your time. Tracking your time actually preserves it. Have you ever had a feeling where you just think, I have no idea where the time went? And that's because often we can't actually remember what we were doing. When you track your time, you feel like you had more of it. My second tip to you is to default to saying I will get back to you, or to saying no if you immediately know that it's not something that you want to do, and especially if it's something that's long in the future. If you want to start being more productive with your time and start to make the most out of your life, then you have to be really particular about what you do and make sure that you're only doing the things that are of value to you. And this is based on the list of values that we've listed as the first part of this exercise. Part of saying no is also saying no to disturbances. I've discussed before in my channel how I use app blocking software to prevent me from using certain social media apps during certain hours of the week, and that really helps me to be more productive. In a study on time management that was conducted, including 900 people, the people who consider themselves time relaxed actually spent half as much time on their phone as the people who were time starved. And this is because we like to think of being on our phone as a leisurely activity, but actually it's not. In fact, the brain operates in much the same way as it does when it's engaging with work and with emails when we're on our phone. There is actually a level of strain that's associated with it. Tip number 3 is to become a master planner. If you feel constantly stressed during your day and you feel like you have no idea what's actually going on and you want a better handle over things, then you really should be starting to write down everything. Write down what you need to do, write down what you've done, make plans and make plans for plans. And in fact, if you want to put a system in place that makes sure that you are doing the things that will lead to you achieving your lifetime goals, then define 3 lifetime goals. From there, define 3 goals that you would like to achieve during the year that are contributing to those lifetime goals, and then 3 goals that you can achieve every month that will contribute to those yearly goals, and then 3 daily goals that are in service of those 3 monthly goals. And they don't have to be extremely tightly connected to each other, but it's just always to make sure that you have a clear idea of where you're going and what you need to do now to get to where you want to go. Of course, these can change with time. I expect that your lifetime goals wouldn't change that often, but they may change as you grow too. But it's not so much the plan that is important, but the process of planning. So do note down these things and do try to adjust your daily routine so that you're acting in accordance of where you want to be. And then I just wanted to share a bonus tip with you, and that is to encourage you to produce work in increments and to receive feedback whenever you can on the work that you've outputted. In engineering, there are two development strategies that are in alignment with this, and that is the evolutionary and the incremental. And this is basically where you prototype a product and check what the feedback is and then make improvements to it, and you can apply it with anything that you're working on. So in an A to be productive and to make amazing things happen and to complete your projects, don't be afraid to think of who important stakeholders are in your project or people whose advice you really trust in the specific area, and ask them for feedback on what you've actually outputted. So in summary, my 4 tips for you for better time management and productivity are to track your time, learn to say no or default to saying I'll get back to you, become a master planner, and my 4th tip to you is to produce products in increments and to get feedback on it from relevant stakeholders or from people in the field whose opinion you respect. Please let me know which of these tips you're going to start implementing today. If you want to 10x your productivity, follow the strategies that I've suggested, and I promise you within 1 week your life will already be feeling like you have a lot more control over it. It's been really awesome chatting with you about this topic. I'm fixated on productivity and the science and philosophies that go around with it. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being here, and I'm wishing you a productive week. Goodbye.